Namaskar, Jai Shri Krishna. We have seen that when Arjun's conscience became clouded and he could not decide whether to fight his own people, he turns to Bhagavan Sri Krishna and asking him to be his disciple. Surrenders him to Bhagavan. He surrenders himself to Bhagavan. Arjun was fortunate to be in the presence of Bhagavan. Although he did not know Sri Krishna as Bhagavan, we are not so fortunate. However, Sri Bhagavan has given subtle clues in Gita as to how one can be in the presence of Bhagavan even today. First of all, as Parameshwar, Bhagavan is everywhere at all time. He is constantly watching for those who, by following his teachings, that is Gyan, have uplifted themselves above the sansar. Bhagavan says about those people that Sajjeev I pick up without delay. So first we need to surrender ourselves to Bhagavan and always keeping him with us in our thoughts. Then and only then we will be motivated to and learn the teachings of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Because in his absence, Bhagavan delivers his Gyan through a devotee of his own, who is also chosen by him. Thus, even in the absence of manifested Parameshwar, we can be in his presence when we remember him and pursue his Gyan. Last time we saw Bhagavan told Arjuna about Atma. Bhagavan said that arms cannot cut Atma, fire cannot burn the Atma, water cannot wet the Atma, and air cannot dry. Because Atma is unpierceable. Atma is fireproof, Atma is waterproof, and windproof. Such is Atma. In other words, the Atma is completely different from what we feel. The Atma is completely different. And we cannot feel it, hear it, like, dislike in the sansar. The Atma cannot be touched by and therefore cannot be understood through Prakriti. And whatever happens in Prakriti, that is birth, death, creation, destruction, does not happen to Atma. Therefore, at no time the Atma is to be mourned. The Atma is akin to Paramatma and can only be described by Paramatma. And once that happens to someone, they become worthy of moksha. We will learn this as we go through the teachings of Sri Krishna. Now, in the next 8 shlokas, Bhagavan explains to Arjuna that from the viewpoint of business of the world, Vyavahar, also he must fight in the battle. So far, Bhagavan tried to tell him about Atma and nothing happens to Atma, so you're not going to kill the Atma. Atma still lives on. Now he's telling what happens if you don't fight, what will happen to you in sansar.
अधर्ममपि चावेक्ष्य न विकम्पितुमर्हसि धर्म्याधियुद्धाश्रेयोऽन्यत् क्षत्रियस्य न विद्यते.
Bhagavan says to Arjuna, and also looking avekshya, looking at your own dharma, swadharma, you ought not to waver. You should not, the word is vikampitu. You should not waver because for Kshatriya there exists nothing higher, nothing more Shreya. Then the Dharma Yudh. For Kshatri, Dharma Yudh is the highest that they can perform in this world. Dharma Yudh is the righteous war. Bhagavan is telling Arjun that you, being Kshatriya, are there to protect others. The word Kshatriya has two components. Kshat, meaning injury or destruction, and Trayate, meaning to protect. So a person with this quality is Kshatriya, the one who can protect others and take uh, all the attacks on himself. So if somebody is fighting, he comes in front and protects the people. Arjun, you being a Kshatriya should not be afraid or waver from this dharma. In chapter 1, Shlok 28 and 29, Arjun said that seeing these kinsmen gathered here eager to fight, my limbs fail me, my mouth is drying, I shiver all over, and the Gandiv is slipping from my hands. These are the signs of a nervous person. Therefore, Bhagavan tells Arjun not to be afraid. You are there, therefore you should fight. Instead of being afraid, you are here to fight. So go ahead and fight. Now, why this is a Dharma Yudh? Why this war is called Dharma Yudh? Arjun was afraid to commit hinsa. So Bhagavan explains that Arjun, there is a fine line between hinsa and ahimsa, violence and non-violence. This war is Dharma Yudh because Duryodhan was on the side of adharma. Because twice he, with the help of others, framed Pandavas and took over their kingdom by deceit. He also tried to insult Draupadi in front of all the people in the kingdom. Dharma is defined in Dharma Shastra. Activities outside Dharma Shastra fall under adharma. Bhagavan says that when adharma increases and dharma becomes under pressure, in all yugas, in all yugas, Bhagavan is implying that he appears and take care of the dharma. He is implying here that whenever it's needed, he is there to do his job. According to the Dharma Shastra, conflicts arise between the dharma and adharma can be resolved in 4 ways. These are Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed. Under Sam, on behalf of Pandav, Bhagavan tried to reason using words. Then under the Dam, Bhagavan tried to negotiate by proposing to give 5 villages to Pandav only. When Duryodhana rejected the proposal, the only way to solve the dispute was to punish Duryodhana and all his supporters and to remove them, Dand and Bhed. Now only these options were left. Arjun did not want to kill and be subject to the sin of hinsa. So here Bhagavan is saying that as a Kshatriya, it is your duty or dharma to fight on the side of dharma and to protect those who are following the dharma. When a adharma grows, the Dharma Yudh takes place. Arjun, in Dharma Yudh, although there is violence, but for you, according to the covenants of the Dharma Shastra, it will not be hinsa. You will not be responsible for it. This is the fine line between hinsa and ahimsa. Violence and non-violence. It is the duty of a Kshatriya to fight in the interest of his country, people, and dharma, but not for his own personal gain. This becomes clearer in the next shlok. Now Bhagavan says,
यदृच्छया चोपपन्नम् स्वर्गद्वारमपावृतम् सुखिनः क्षत्रियाः पार्थ लभन्ते युद्धमीदृशम्.
O Parth, yat shraddhya, of itself, upapannam, having received, cha apapratam, and open, swargadwaram, gates of heaven or swarg, and idrasham yuddham, unsought opportunity to fight in such battle, labhante, are obtained by the Sukhina Kshatriya, very fortunate Kshatriya. According to the Shastra, if a Kshatriya fighting for his dharma, in Yuddha dharma, falls in the battlefield, he at once goes to heaven. In addition, the King Kuru had a boon that anyone fighting for dharma in Kurukshetra will go to heaven only. So Arjun, for you, the door of heaven is open of itself. Furthermore,
अथ चेत्त्वमिमं धर्म्यं संग्रामं न करिष्यसि ततः स्वधर्मं कीर्तिं च हित्वा पापमवाप्स्यसि.
but if you will not engage in this dharma sangram, in this dharma yuddha, then you will not only forfeit your own dharma and honor, kirti, you will incur sin, papam avapyasasi. You will incur sin. Here Bhagavan is implying that all of us are given some talents, which is indicative of our dharma, each one of us. We should use this talent for the benefit of the others. Using it for your own benefit would be selfish, and such an action will not lead to yoga or the karma yoga. Action conducted like this will not be considered, will not fall under karma yoga. This will be a sinful action, because knowing this to be your dharma, you are leaving it. It is important that we understand that we should not copy others. Copying others is not the right thing to do. What is our dharma, what we are here for, what talents we have, that is the right thing to follow and pursue, and you will be successful in that. By copying others, you don't know what their karma was, how things are going to play out for them. It may not play out like that for you. So copying is not right. Looks like Bhagavan is laying down the foundation of Karma Yoga. Bhagavan explains this will lead to what else? If you follow Swadharma, what would it lead to? If you don't follow Swadharma, for Arjuna he says, what will happen to you if you don't fight in this war? What further will happen? You, besides incurring sin, what else will happen to you?
अकीर्तिं चापि भूतानि कथयिष्यन्ति ते व्ययाम् संभावितस्य चाकीर्तिः मरणादतिरिच्यते.
And Bhutani, meaning people, what will they do to you? Kathi yashyanti, they will also talk about te abhyayam akirtim api, your everlasting dishonor. They will say that Arjun showed his back in the war and ran away. Arjun had a reputation of not running away from the battle. He defeated Shiva when he appeared as Kirat and was awarded Gandiv. He also defeated all these people who were lined up against him to fight. In the kingdom of Virat, a man with such a high reputation is now backing away from the battle due to delusion. The world will ever hold you in reprobation. And cha sambhavitasya, for such a honored person, akirtim atirichyate maranat. Disrepute is worse than or bigger than his death. Akirti is really worse than dying. The current argument reflects that the cause to go to war already proved to be right. Therefore, for Arjun to abandon the cause can only be due to his cowardice. Further, what will happen to Arjun? Bhagavan says, what will happen to you?
भयाद्रणादुपरतं मंस्यन्ते त्वां महारथाः येषां च त्वं बहुमतो भूत्वा यास्यसि लाघवम्
च येषां त्वां बहुमतः भूत्वा लाघवं यास्यसि. And those who viewed you in great esteem, they will now view you lightly. And Maharatha Tvam Ranat Uparatam Manyate Bhayat. The great chariot warriors will consider your withdrawal from the war is due to fear in you. And what will happen if you withdraw from the war?
अवाच्य वादांश्च बहून् वदिष्यन्ति तवाहिताः निन्दन्तस्तव सामर्थ्यं ततो दुःखतरं नु किम्.
Tav ahita, your enemies also, tav samarthyam nindati, caving at your great powers, prowess, bahun avachya vadana, vadantischa, will also say things about you, the words which are not to be uttered. They'll talk so bad of you. Tata dukhataram nakim. What will be more painful to you than that? Therefore, it will be better for you to fight. Furthermore,
हतो वा प्राप्स्यसि स्वर्गम् जित्वा वा भोक्ष्यसे महीम् तस्मादुत्तिष्ठ कौन्तेय युद्धाय कृतनिश्चयः.
Furthermore, by participating in the war, there are two outcomes for you. Hantava swargam prapasi. By dying thou shalt gain swarg. And jitva va bhokshase mahim. By conquering you will rule the earth. Tasmat kaunteya. Therefore, O son of Kunti, Yudhaya Kritanishchay Uttishta. Arise, resolved to fight in the war. Have a total resolve. Don't just go back and forth. Don't think twice. You shall have no doubt. You win both ways by participating in the war. But how should you engage in the fight? The fight will be Dharam Yuddha only if you will have no personal agenda or motive. This is what Bhagavan is telling in the next shloka.
सुख दुःखे समे कृत्वा लाभा लाभो जया जयौ ततो युद्धाय युज्यस्व नैवं पापमवाप्स्यसि.
Here Bhagavan is explaining how one should perform to comply with one's own dharma, swadharma. same kritva. Having made the pair of opposites the same and remaining the same in them. Which are these pair of opposites? These are sukh, dukkhe. Pleasure and pain, labha, labho. In gain and in loss. Jaya, jayo. In conquest and defeat. Tatah, having done this, then yujyasya yudhaya. You get ready for the war. Evam, by engaging in the war in this way, papam na avapsasi. You will not incur any sin. Here it is noteworthy that Bhagavan puts pleasure before pain. Why not put pain before pleasure? Gain before loss. Conquest before defeat. Bhagavan is saying that kritva means make pleasure and pain same, the same. Meaning make pain like pleasure. Then you will always be in pleasure. You will never have pain. There is a second point here. That is, both the pleasure and pain are consequences or the fruit of our action. And if our karma is based on dharma, swadharma, the fruit will be the same. Whether it results in pleasure or it results in pain. Thirdly, Bhagavan is called the ultimate Anand, Anandaghan. There is no pain there. So he does not want Jeev to have pain and teaches him how to be same in pleasure and in pain, or change the pain into pleasure. Same goes for gain and loss and conquest and defeat. Bhagavan always wants Jeev to gain and ultimately conquer the sansar and be one with Ishwar. Thus, at any given time, first one needs to define and understand their dharma, and then act in such a way that their action is not identified with any of the pair of opposites. It is always one's desire which attracts them towards one of the pair of opposites, that they favor one outcome over the other, which causes bondage. When the action is carried out with no attachment to the act itself, because generally people say they love doing this, or some say that they hate doing that, what they are doing, or attachment to its fruit. Same goes for the results, gain or loss, victory or defeat. The karma is worked out so that no new karma results from this activity. So if a person performs a karma in such a way that he has no attachment to how the karma is being done, he doesn't care. He has no attachment to the fruit of the action, what will result. He is equal in both of them. Whether it results in sukh or dukh, he makes dukh as sukh too. That way, he will never fail. And what will happen, the karma is work out. Whatever karma he is doing, it will work out. That means it will end and no new karma will form. Once a person has a attachment or liking or disliking for certain things, they automatically get bound to that. Just look at this way. I like doing something. You already attached yourself to doing that. Now when you attach to something, you are bonded with it. Like you say, now we're going to bond with people. So you are bonded with them. When you are bonded with them or with that action, then you are bound by it. And that becomes a bondage. So why have attachment? Look at everything objectively. say, well, this is my dharma, this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm doing in the name of Bhagavan. That's it. And whatever happens, like this saying is, let the chips fall where they may. And go on with your life. Bhagavan emphasizes this throughout Gita. Now Bhagavan is giving here the introduction of the intellect, buddhi, needed to carry out such an action in such a way in Karma Yoga. Karma performed with such intellect will not create bondage for Jeev, because the mind or the man, along with conscious, which is chit, wanders all over the place based on what the senses perceive. It is the intellect, the buddhi, which gives the decision as to what should be done, what is the right thing to do. So if the intellect is pure, the decision will be right for the rise of the Atma. So Bhagavan says,
एषा ते भिहिता सांख्ये बुद्धिर्योगे त्विमां शृणु बुद्ध्या युक्तो यया पार्थ कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसि.
Parth, Esha Buddhi Te Abhita Sankhye. O son of Pratha, this buddhi or wisdom which I described to you was for Sankhya or Gyan Yoga. Tu Imam Yoge Shrunu. Now you listen to the buddhi or wisdom for yoga, meaning Karma Yoga. What kind of buddhi takes to perform the karma under Karma Yoga? Till now, Bhagavan exposed the buddhi of Arjun to Sankhya or sannyas with Gyan. Sankhya, sannyas with Gyan. Sama buddhi. And now, Bhagavan is guiding his buddhi to Karma Yoga. Yaya buddhaya yukta karma bandhanam prahasasi. Endued with which wisdom or buddhi you shall break through the bonds of karma, or you will forever destroy the bond of karma. Now what is the bondage of karma? Karma bandhan. After explaining the Gyan, Bhagavan said, Arjun, you need not worry about Atma, because you already seen Atma cannot be, you cannot destroy Atma, you cannot hurt Atma, you cannot do anything to the Atma. So don't worry about Atma. And now you need to come into yoga, meaning devotion to Ishwar, Ishwar Bhakti, or Nishkam Karma Yoga. Many people say that they do Nishkam Karma. But it's not humanly possible to do Nishkam Karma, because there's always some motive, explicit or otherwise, there with any action that any person takes in this world. Because Prakriti is full of ego and stuff like this. So there cannot be, Prakriti is selfish, so there cannot be Nishkam, because we are all situated in the Prakriti, acting in Prakriti, and we are being helped by Prakriti to conduct the action. So how can it be that we can do Nishkam Karma ourselves? It is Ishwar who does it for us. He, at the last moment, he'll take the hetu or the motive which is behind our karma away from it and make it Nishkam. That is his kripa. When karma is Nishkam, there is no bondage, because there is no bonding. Why? Because in that, the Karma Yoga, you do not create a bond of any sort. Whether in planning the action, execution of the action, or consequent fruit of the action. You don't create any bond with either one of them. You just did it because it was that what your dharma was. When we have no expectation, the karma becomes nishkam. Now, I don't know if there are any people in this world who do things without having any expectation. I can think of many people. Maybe there's few around. As long as we have expectation, there will be pleasure and pain related to the action. We then are exposed to the pair of opposites. Without expectation, there is the state of nirdvand. There is no pair of opposite there. You are above that dvand there, pair of opposites. The pair of opposites disappear. When we have no desire for the fruit of action, we do get the fruit anyway, but we get anand along with it. Now we'll take a look at example how that happens. It doesn't apply today because children don't want bicycle these days, but in old days, in our time, we were really joyed once we get a rally bicycle or something like that. So when a child gets a bicycle, he or she rides it as a play, enjoys, having fun, and he enjoys that ride. On the other hand, an adult rides a bike in order to lose weight. He or she is riding the bicycle with a goal in mind. Here, although the child gets tired but does not feel tired, but the adult watches the time and calories. For the adult, it is a chore, and they feel tired. They can't wait till the time is over when they can stop running the bicycle. The child will get the fruit of action, but the child is not looking forward to it, and he or she does not ride the bike for its fruit. Similarly, someone doing Surya Namaskar is performing puja, but along with it, they also get the effect of doing exercise, vyayam. Now we will look at karma in light of three gunas. So how should we do it? We should do it so we can enjoy our action. If we enjoy our action, the fruit will be joy anyway. There is no dukh anymore. If we don't enjoy what we do, then what can we expect for the fruit? The fruit is not going to be joyful. Now looking at karma according to three gunas, in Rajogun, one performs the action with the goal in mind. They already have preset goal. This is what I want from this action. A businessman will figure out profits prior to getting into business. Isn't that true? That's the way it is. They do all kind of analysis. You're going to do this, do that, borrow money, whatever. And in the end, bottom line, I'm going to make so much profit. Under Satogun, the person says, it is my karma, and leaves it to Parmeshwar. He doesn't worry about the profit or loss. He just says, hey, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do it. But under Tamogun, the person says, if I do not get the fruit of the action, I'm not performing it. I want so much advance first before I even start your work. So Bhagavan says, Arjun, now I will tell you about the wisdom needed to perform Nishkam Karma Yoga. When you will perform action endued with this yoga, Karma Yoga, your action will not result in bondage. Why? Because performing the karma in this way, you will have no expectation. This is not the karma vad. Karma vad is different from karma yoga. This is karma yoga. In it, the presence of Ishwar Tattva is imperative. There has to be Ishwar involved in the action in order for it to be karma yoga. So karma yoga is the plan of action which secures the working out of the past karma without creating the new ones. So when you are working away all your past burdens, whatever karma we have accumulated, slowly you just keep working it out and keep finishing them up and not creating a new one. So our balance sheet start getting less and less and less. And also leads to Parameshwar Prapti. By doing this slowly, because you're doing that with Parameshwar, so you're also getting closer and closer to Parameshwar. It is our karma which keeps us away from Parameshwar. The more karma we accumulated, further away we get. In this yoga, besides power to destroy past karma, there are other peculiar attributes. What are they?
नेहाभिक्रमनाशोऽस्ति प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य त्रायते महतो भयात्.
Iha, in this karma yoga, first, abhikramanash na asti. There is no waste of attempt if some activity is done earlier or later, or vice versa. This does not result in destruction of the sequence, whether you perform certain action, some activity you did earlier or later, doesn't matter. Action is going to be completed. And secondly, if some activity is performed out of sequence, it does not produce a contrary result. Pratyavayo na vidyate. Thirdly, swalpa masyasya dharmasya. Even a little practice of this dharma, trayato mahate bhayat, protects one from the great terror. What is this terror? It is a cycle of birth and death. It is terror that we bring this terror upon ourselves through engaging into karma, sakam karma, or the karma to fulfill a desire. Once we start performing karmas, engaging in the karma for fulfilling our desire, then there's going to be fruit, and we're going to have to come back to enjoy the fruit of that action. So that is a bondage, and you have to keep going back, coming and going, coming and going. Now, in the commentary of the last slok, we saw that in Nishkam Karma Yoga, the presence of Ishwar Vastu is imperative. Only the karma which is performed for and under the guidance of Ishwar Gyan can be Nishkam Karma. Devta karma is performed with some desire for the fruit of that action. It's always sakam. Thus it falls under the Rajogun. Only the Ishwar Vastu is Nishkam, and karma related to Ishwar and endued with Gyan, Gyan Yukta, is qualified to be Nishkam karma. Here one totally surrenders himself or herself to Parameshwar, and by this he or she is absolved of the consequences of the karma. So, karma can be performed with or without any desire. When there is a desire, the karma falls under the domain of Devata, and with no desire, it is surrendered to Parameshwar and falls under the Karma Yoga. In the Nishkam Karma, there are three things. Number one, that if the sequence of activity of the karma breaks down, no sin incurs. That is a plus. Number two, whether part of the karma is completed, only one part completed, that part of the fruit of the action of the karma is given, no matter whether you completed the whole karma or not. And thirdly, it does not produce a contrary result. Pratyavaya. Pratyavaya are, if you look into it, Pratyavaya Nark, that's what they are called. So if Devta Bhakti is not done accordingly, according to the covenants of that Devta Bhakti, the Devta gets upset and gives Nark. These are not in Devta or Sakam Bhakti. These three things are not in Sakam Bhakti. As mentioned in the beginning, the path of Ishwar and Devta are totally separate. They do not cross. Desire endued or the Sakam Bhakti does not lead to Ishwar. No way it will lead to Ishwar. But in the Ishwar Bhakti, desire can get fulfilled. But what kind of desires do get fulfilled, and in what way? Only those desires which do not present a hurdle in the progress towards getting to Ishwar. If it becomes a vigan, Ishwar will not fulfill that desire. It will change you, so you don't want that. In case of Devta Bhakti, there are strict rules to be followed, and all activity must be performed in the prescribed sequence only. There are specific materials which are to be used. Also, at what time of the day the bhakti has to be performed. They are all specified. If all procedures are not followed in entirety, the action is incomplete. So you have to do everything from A to Z the way it is spelled out. If not, anything missing, the karma is not complete. In Devta Bhakti, 16 steps, Shorsopchar, must be followed in the proper sequence. Otherwise, instead of getting the phal, there are side effects or production of contrary results, pratyavaya. About the proper procedure, we have examples in Shastra. The example of Ram. To conquer Ravan, Ram performed bhakti of Durga. In it, he offered lotus flowers. On the last day, he ran short of one flower. Without the proper number of flowers, the procedure will be incomplete and he will not get the help of Durga in fighting Ravan. In this moment, he remembered that his mother Kaushalya had named him lotus-eyed, Rajiv Lochan. So he picked up his sword and proceeded to take one of his eyes to substitute for the missing flower. Then Durga appeared and stopped him from doing that. He was being tested by Durga. Then there is a story of Pandu. He did only 99 yagna and need to have 100 yagna completed to go to Swarg. He could not complete the 100th. He died. So he was stopped at the 99th step up to the Swarg. When the 100th yagna was completed by Pandavas, he did get to Swarg. Such is Devta Bhakti. What are other differences between Ishwar Bhakti and Devta Bhakti? In chapter 9, Shlok 21, Bhagavan tells Arjuna that having enjoyed the vast Swarg world, on the exhaustion of their merit, they are returned to the mortal world. This is the result of Devta Bhakti. It's not permanent. It's time bound. And by Ishwar Bhakti, one goes to my supreme abode, going whither they return not. This Bhagavan says in chapter 15, Shlok 7. So Devta Bhakti is Sakam and it results in fruit of this mortal world. But the Ishwar Bhakti gives moksha. Since Ishwar also awards the fruit of Sakam Bhakti, it is better to ask Ishwar for them instead of asking Devata. So to summarize this slok, a rite or ceremony which is performed with a definite fruit or result is wasted if left incomplete. But in Karma Yoga, the action and worship is performed with no desire. This law does not apply. In it, for every effort, the result is immediate purification of the antahkaran, man, buddhi, chit, ahankar. It becomes purified. And that's why you don't engage into new actions, sakam action. Your Atma becomes purer and purer and purer. Now Bhagavan goes into description of buddhi, what buddhi is for this karma yoga.
व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः एकेह कुरु नन्दन बहुशाखा ह्यनन्ताश्च बुद्धयो व्यवसायिनाम्.
Guru Nandan, यह व्यवसायिका बुद्धि एका भवति. O sign of Guru, in this karma yoga, there is only one buddhi, and that is one pointed determination. In this case, one does not waver and stays the course. Avyavasayinam buddhya hi bahushakha cha ananta. But those who are in sakam bhakti have multi-branched buddhi, and they are innumerable. They have many goals and do not stick to a single purpose. They jump from one job to next one and from there to next one. They are never satisfied. The person with Nishkam Karma Yoga has a single pointed determination, because whatever he does for Parameshwar. That is the determination. He has no other desire, so his buddhi is dedicated to the single determination. But those who are fickle-minded, lacking jnana, and are engaged in sakam bhakti cannot have the single pointed determination, no matter how much they try. Because they jump from one desire to another. Desire is something which, when it's fulfilled, you want more. This constantly changing from one goal to other causes the destruction of his dharma, and he does not succeed in his endeavor. Here Bhagavan is pointing to Arjuna that your dharma is that of Kshatriya. You should follow and complete your dharma. If you will become a sannyasi, like he wanted to be, then even in the jungle, you will act like a Kshatriya, because it is your dharma. There is a short story on this, which will make it a little clearer, I hope. A relative of a king had the habit of taking bribe. Of course, these days bribe taking is very, very common. Not just the king, but everybody. So, the king thought to send this fellow in a place where he cannot take a bribe. There's no way he can take a bribe. So the king sent him to the beach to count the ocean waves. That's all your job is. Go sit by the beach and count the waves in the ocean. He started to do his job of counting the waves. One day, a ship was coming ashore. He stopped the ship, saying that the king has sent me here to count the waves. You will keep me from doing king's order, performing king's order. So he cannot come ashore. There too he started taking bribes. The ship owners They want to come ashore, so they have to satisfy. This shlok applies to the general public as well as Ishwar and Devta Bhakti. A person with Gyan knows that he is to do bhakti of Ishwar only. But one who is not decided, he moves through many buddhis. Because there are so many devtas, not just one, there are crores devtas. And there are so many things to be had in this world. You want this, now you want that, this is not enough. You want iPhone 4, now you want iPhone 6, just keep going on and on, never stops. This is further clarified here. In Hindu Dharma, there are two aspects. One is called Bhogavad, based on Vedas, and the second is Tyagvad, or renunciation, which started with Upanishads. The first mantra of the Tyagvad is Ishavasemidam sarvam yat kinche jagatyan jagat tene tyaktene bhunjitha magradah kasya sudnidhanam. Ishwar is all over this sansar. There is no place where the Ishwar is not. Whatever is happening in sansar is jagat, and the Ishwar has pervaded it all, whatever is happening. So what is to be done? What should we do? Tena tyaktena bhunjitha. Whatever you take from sansar, take only after offering to Ishwar, because it is his. You want something, you take, offer to Ishwar, and then you use it for yourself. And further, magradha, do not be greedy. I was talking to somebody some time ago, and somehow we got into discussion about how to take out ghee from an urn. He says, in this sansar, I tell you in Hindi, you can take out ghee, more ghee with the crooked finger. टेढ़ी उंगली से घी ज़्यादा निकलता है. Then from a straight, I said, okay. When you say the word crooked or टेढ़ी only, you are acting in a crooked way. That's the only way you get more out of the sansar than you deserve. So whatever comes out with the straight finger, that's what fine with you. But other than that, you are just taking somebody else's portion. Kasya suvidhanam. All this wealth does not stay with anyone. So you take out more from the sansar, it doesn't necessarily stay with you. So this is the message of renunciation in Hindu Dharma. You don't find this kind of renunciation in other dharmas. So in Vedas there is Bhogavad. So Hindus have two things, Bhogavad, and in Upanishad there is renunciation. You come in this world, you do, enjoy, and then leave it away. Go away from it. In this way, Hindu Dharma plays controls on Bhogavad. That's the only way you can control Bhogavad. Otherwise, like here, person be 80, 85-year-old, he still wants to get married, he wants to go with this and that. But that's not what Hindu Dharma preaches. Now, how did they do this? How did they put the controls? They did it by defining 4 stages of human life span, by introducing 4 ashrams. In the later part of one's life, they are to surrender to Ishwar and not engage in worldly pleasures like it is prevalent in the Western societies. Now Bhagavan explains what is the behavior of those whose buddhi is multifaceted, or those in Devta Bhakti. How they behave.
यामिमां पुष्पितां वाचं प्रवदन्त्यविपश्चितः वेदवादरताः पार्थ नान्यदस्तीति वादिनः.
O Parth, these or those avipaschita, unwise and without jnana, those in Devta Bhakti, what they do? Yamima pushpitam vacham. With the well-known flowery words which are liked by others, and Vedvadarata, keeping their deep attachment to the pleasures and the panegyric or celebratory statements of Veda, that they can get this pleasure with this yagna or that yagna. Na nirdastiti vadina. They say that there is nothing besides this. This is it. This is what life is. Enjoy. This pleasure and power of the world, the Bhogavad, is everything for them. What else they do?
कामात्मानः स्वर्गपराः जन्मकर्मफलप्रदां क्रियाविशेषबहुलां भोगैश्वर्यगतिं प्रति.
Kamatmanam. With their Atma full of Kam, or the desire for worldly enjoyments. Swarg para. With the Swarg as their highest goal. Para means that is after death they want to go to Swarg. Kriya Vishesha Bahulam. They perform exuberant and specific actions. Jarma Karma Phala Pradam, which lead to new births as a result of their action. And why they want this? They want this Bhog Aishwarya Gatim Prati, for the attainment of pleasure and power. I am going to be most powerful person. I am the biggest. I am the best. And I have the most enjoyment. I own this. I own this, man. Everything. Then what will happen to these people?
भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तयापहृतचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधो न विधीयते.
Bhog Aishwarya Prasaktanam, those who are tenaciously attached to the pleasures and power, and in attaining the same, Tayapa Hrta Chetasam, their conscience, their chit, has been stolen, or in other words, they are unable to think of anything else other than attainment of pleasure and power. Bhog and Aishwarya. Vyavasayitaka buddhi samadho na vidhiyate. The buddhi of such people cannot become set determination in Ishwar Gyan. Here, the word samadho means in Ishwar, not samadhi. So, these people with these actions, sakam bhakti, who are always after the bhog and aishwar of sansar, they can never get into the Ishwar Gyan. So in summary, those who are deeply attached to the pleasures and powers, no set determination is formed in their mind. Their buddhi cannot be nishchayatmika or set towards Ishwar Gyan, because their conscience, their chit, has been stolen by the flowery words of the unwise, who are filled with desire and look upon Swarg as their highest goal. They take pleasure in Karma Kand, which lays down a specific rule for the specific action and their fruits. They say that beyond the heavenly enjoyment procurable by the sacrificial rites of the Veda, there is nothing else. With this state of mind, they are unable to pursue the path leading to Ishwar. So here we come full circle. Ishwar path and the Devta path are so different. So those who follow Devta path are unable to come over onto Ishwar path. It's very difficult. Next time we will go into what Bhagavan says about Vedas. What is the place of Veda in uplifting of the Atma? And also what is the duty of us all? How we shall perform karma and what will be the result of performing karma in the right way. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.